Welcome to Investment Trends. This program is brought to you with the compliments of the Zambia Development Agency, ZDA, and ZNBC. Today on the program, we are looking at air transport infrastructure in the country. Of course, it's such a big topic. So much investment has gone into this, and we have the Director Airport Services, and this is Madam Agnes Chaila, who is going to be able to explain to us really what all this is about, what all this means for the economy of this country. Hello, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
It's
Pleasure
good
to be
have
here.
you.
Thank you very much.
Right, so for those who don't understand, briefly tell us a little bit about the Zambia Airports Corporation.
Thank you, Chilufia. Zambia Airports Corporation Limited was born out of an Act of Parliament, 1989, Cap 444 of the laws of Zambia, and incorporated to develop, manage airport and air navigation infrastructure and services to international standards, as you have seen by what is going on. And our mandate basically is centered around the 4 airports that we have in the country. And this is Kenneth Kaunda International Airport in Lusaka, our main airport, Harry Mwanga Nkumbula International Airport, our tourist airport in Livingstone, Ndola, Simon Mwanza-Kapwepwe International Airport in Ndola, and finally Mfue in the Luangwa National Park, South Luangwa National Park. The Act, the 1989 Act, has since been repealed.
Okay.
And we are now riding on Act number 5 of 2016, the Civil Aviation Act. And basically that is Zambia Airports. So we develop airports for you, we manage them for you, we do it to international standards so that you're all happy.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, we all want to be happy, but we also expect that as much as you're trying to make us happy, you're endeavoring to make us happy, there's been some challenges. Take us through how the year 2017 has been as compared to 2016.
Very true. And you see, we as a business, airport business, we do not create demand. We derive demand from the various sectors of the economy. So the economic fundamentals are very critical to our operations. The economic fundamentals will dictate the movement of the passengers, they will dictate the movement of the cargo, and basically commerce generally. So how has it been? We've had some shaky times, as everybody knows, in our economy. But I think I would like to focus on the positives.
Okay.
Inflation rates, single digit, exchange rate stabilizing, and you see, the other factor also are the copper prices. All of those dictate our business. And the year started a little shaky, and I would say a little shaky because we've been used to growing quite highly. Our growth was under 5%, or rather around 5%. The domestic sector did not perform very well in the first quarter. We actually recorded negative growth, but there's been a rebound. We have closed the first half of the year at 5.8% growth.
Okay.
We're still in the middle of the tourist season. We still have 2 months when we expect tourists to still move around. So we're expecting to see even higher growth. The copper prices, I was reading a few days ago, we're now talking about $6,300. One of our airports, the Ndola Airport, and generally the Simon Mwanza-Kapwepwe Airport, and generally the economy is kind of dictated largely by the mining sector.
Right.
So the improvement of the copper prices means that we're going to see improvements in the mining sector, means that we're going to see improvements. The suppliers are going to be able to supply. One of our major drivers of the passengers is Zambia is very high on cross-border traders. When the mines have gone down, or when the fundamentals of the economy have gone down, when the exchange rate is not doing well, that sector of the economy does not perform well. With the rebound, we expect to start seeing more people moving around, hence the demonstration of the 5.8% growth.
Okay.
We did a total of about 796,000 passengers during the first half of the year, that is coming in and out of the country. And that was mostly, I think there was more growth in the international sector, but we've also seen some growth happening in the domestic sector.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of investments in airport infrastructure, we've seen that happening, and the president having gone to the Copperbelt and launched the works for the Simon Mwanza Kapwepwe Airport. We've also seen that this has attracted more airlines coming. I know that locally we have a new one, Mahogany Airlines. But let's talk about the airlines that come to Zambia, and in which destinations do they go, locally as well as internationally?
Okay. Obviously, critical factor is activity in the economy.
Right.
So just as I've said, we have seen, we expect activity to actually start picking up and growing and increasing. Zambia is currently receiving about 14 airlines.
Okay.
That is both domestic and international. You've mentioned Mahogany. That will be the third domestic operator. We have ProFlight, who are operating in all the 4 airports and other airports that we do not manage. We have Royal Air Charters that are basically just going to Solwezi and a few other places on charter basis. And then we have the other operators are all international. Talk about Emirates Airlines, Kenya Airways, Ethiopian Airlines, just joined the bandwagon RwandAir, and we are very excited with their growth. They've been doing very well. They've been expanding very quickly. Air Namibia, Malawian Airlines, the list is quite long. When we talk about international destinations, our biggest market is South Africa. That's obviously also our biggest operator in terms of passenger numbers. We have Emirates Airlines going to Dubai. We have Kenya Airways. We have Ethiopian Airlines, Rwanda, as I've mentioned, and these are all going to Kigali, Addis Ababa, Dubai, Johannesburg, Dar es Salaam. And you see, the interesting part of Zambia, the interesting factor of Zambia is that our fundamentals are usually quite positive. And because of that, we are an attractive destination to many airlines. Okay. You might have heard that we had Turkish Airlines announced at some point that they were coming. That is not a dead story. Qatar Airways announced just last year that they were coming. Now, people may be wondering, announcements were made, where are they?
Yeah, what's the delay?
What's the delay? There are various factors that are taken into consideration when an airline is considering a route. Obviously, the numbers are critical. They will not be looking at one route. They will be looking at various routes. So they will probably take the route that seems the most viable to them based on the availability of equipment. Equipment is a challenge with airline operations. So they will not normally have equipment just lying around waiting to be deployed. That is a costly venture. So the equipment that they would have available will be taken to the next route that they see as viable. That does not mean that we're off the radar. We are still on the radar. We continue discussing with them, and we continue just giving them as much information as possible to make sure that we are on course, and they will definitely come. And an exciting point is there's been the talk of the national airline.
Yes.
So that's another one that we are anticipating anxiously.
All right. So much good news coming from the air transport sector. And this is a very important and powerful economic tool to grow the economy.
Yes.
Talk about how you're working with other cooperating partners or stakeholders around improving, around pushing tourism as a major factor in the economy. I know that you have something going on obviously with the Zambia Tourism Agency. How are you then working together to push tourism as something that pushes the economy in a greater heights?
Okay. First of all, allow me to just give you a few other stakeholders
All right.
that we feel when you talk about tourism are critical. There is the airports, obviously, or the aviation industry, as you like. There is the immigration department, very critical. There is the hotel operators, the tourism, the tour operators. All of those are, to us, very critical to this. Now, how are we interacting with them? Firstly, a critical success factor is synergies. The left hand has to know what is happening with the right hand. Our mandates are different, but we need to ensure that Zambia Airports Corporation is doing what is necessary for that tourist who's coming, or what is required for that tourist to be facilitated into the country. Zambia Tourism Agency has to give us feedback of what is it that is happening, what are the tourists saying. So we hold stakeholder meetings.
Okay.
The stakeholder meetings are meant to share ideas. What is it that we're doing? Like I said, what is ZTA doing? Are we doing what is correct to actually finally land this final product called the tourist? Is what we're doing at Zambia Airports going to facilitate for the coming of the tourists? Do we have enough hotel accommodation to make sure that the tourist comes? And what type of hotel accommodation do we have? So it's critical for us to talk to the hoteliers. Do we have activities in the country? You've heard quite constantly there's talk about how much time a tourist will spend in Zambia versus how much time they spend in other countries. That lies in the number of activities or the type of activities that we have available. I mentioned immigration. Immigration is critical in terms of visa facilitation. That's one of the major factors that a tourist will look at when coming. How easy is it for them to get a visa? How quickly, how efficiently are they going to get a visa? And when they arrive, how well are we going to receive them collectively? And I'll give you an example. When you go to the Netherlands, that country handles about 68 million passengers. The population of the Netherlands is 17 million passengers, 17 million people. You see the imbalance? We have about 15 million people. What can stop us from handling more than the number of people? So it basically takes away the fact that it's you and I only that need to travel for us to develop this industry. It can be people that are just passing through, it can be people that are coming here. So those synergies, those stakeholder meetings allow us to sit down and see what everybody's doing. They allow us to see the gaps that we need to fill in order to finish all of that. From a marketing perspective, we hold joint marketing events with the Zambia Tourism Agency. One of them, and coming very soon, is what we call the Route Development Conference. This is to us a very critical marketing event because that is where we go to talk to airlines to interest them to come to Zambia.
Okay.
Now, when I go to this conference as Agnes Chaila, my specialization is airports. So I'm going to talk about what is available, what infrastructure do I have for the airlines to come. For the airline to come, they've got to have the passenger. So I'll tell them that these are the people that can come here now. What is coming now is not enough for them to come. We've got to talk about what more can come. And that's how the Zambia Tourism Agency comes in, because now they say, okay, when people come, they are going to go to see these things and so on and so forth. And forgive me, I actually forgot one very critical partner in this scheme of things, the airlines themselves. Because we will build the infrastructure, the tourism agency will market, the hotels will provide the hotel facilities, the tour operators will provide the activities, the airlines have to bring these tourists to see these things. So we now go to this event and we tell the airline that there's airport infrastructure. And it is very critical for us to have high standards, international standard infrastructure for these airlines to come here. You have heard we've talked about safety, we've talked about security. We have to satisfy all of that, and it requires heavy investment in infrastructure and efficiencies.
All right.
So with that, we have to go to these events with the tourism agency. When the tourism agency is going to events such as the Indaba, World Travel Markets, we also now ride on that and partner with them, because they would talk to these people about what is available for them to come and see. We need to fill in by telling them that when you do come, you actually will find no more airport infrastructure. You'll find you will be able to operate here without a challenge. That is when we're focusing on the international market. One of our major drives right now is to actually develop domestic travel.
Right.
And with that, Chilufya, I would like to encourage you, I would like to encourage everybody in Zambia to try and consider air travel when they're moving around Zambia. It's more efficient, it's safer, it's quicker, it's comfortable. And
But Madam Tyler, the challenge has always been the prices. So obviously when you engage with these airlines,
yes,
there needs to be some sort of, let's meet in the middle, so that
totally
the passenger
agreed.
can
Totally
be able to
agreed.
afford it.
You see, one of the factors that the airlines have to face is the aviation industry is a very highly technical industry. You did hear at some point we were talking very, very constantly about the EU ban.
Yes.
The EU ban was a result of, certain things that were not put in place, or they were not followed, or however you take it. That means that there was heavy investment required. An operator will have to buy a lot of fuel to fly. They have to make sure that they've passed all the safety tests, the security tests, so there's heavy investment. Now, this is what you would probably term as, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? The cost goes with how many people are traveling.
Right.
Yeah, because I think we've seen a number of airlines come and go. We can talk about Zambian Airways, we can talk about Zambezi Airlines, and so on and so forth. But you see, the more people actually start traveling, right now when Mahogany Air starts to operate, we're going to have more capacity. Now the capacity has to be filled. So Chilufya, you have to travel for us to create economies of scale, and that ticket, I can guarantee you, will go down.
All right. Okay, so now let's talk about the infrastructure at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. You've spoken about how we want these people to come through, tourists to come through and experience world-class services at our airports. How far are we from officially opening and having the airport fully operational?
Let me talk in terms of percentages.
Okay.
We are over 50% complete in terms of the total projects. First of all, very proud moment for us in the aviation industry, specifically in the airports company.
I think for the entire country.
Absolutely. I can assure you that I've never heard more positive comments come towards us in the past 2 years. We've been used to receiving very negative comments, but this is actually, I think every Zambian is proudly talking about the infrastructure. We are over 50% complete. The total project has about 7 deliverables. Okay. Obviously the terminal building, our pride, 4 million passenger capacity. For the first time you have what we call the viaduct, so you can actually proudly drive up and be dropped, and when you're arriving you will be arriving from the ground floor. Okay. The terminal will now have 6 aero bridges. Okay. You will no longer have to suffer in the sun or in the rain
walking
or across the tarmac, which is, by the way, not encouraged from a safety perspective. And that means that we have to put in a lot of labor to make sure that you are safe as you are passing. Right. When we create the aero bridges, we will be able to, take away that cost. The terminal will have 4 million passenger capacity. You might have heard that our plan is to actually create Lusaka as a hub. Naturally, we're centrally positioned. We are fairly stable as a country, and we have 8 countries around us, and we feel that we can actually attract people coming here and people transiting through here.
Right.
So because of that, we're actually building a hotel inside the terminal for people that may be traveling. They arrive at 8 in the morning, their connecting flight is in the afternoon. Sometimes you want to go and just put your head down for 3 hours, 6 hours. Apart from that, we're going to have a hotel outside of the airport terminal, and we also are building a shopping mall.
Okay. I was going to ask,
yes.
the support services in terms of shops, restaurants.
Yes. The terminal building itself, first of all, the airport industry is moving towards not focusing just on the landing and the departing, the core business.
Yes.
There's been diversification in getting involved in other businesses that may be linked to the aviation industry, but maybe not necessarily. Airport development has a multiplier effect.
Right.
It creates a lot of businesses now start going around the airport environment. So with that, we're creating what we call airport cities. Outside of the airport, we will have as many businesses as we can. We're already creating some that we will require people to come and manage, because our business is airport operations. So we don't want to do what we don't know. We just create the infrastructure, and then Chilufya comes and says, I want to manage the airport. The inside of the building will have duty-free, we'll have restaurants, we'll have lounges. You see, the new trend now is the banks will come to you and say, our prestige clients, we want them to experience, to have a good experience at the airport. So they're taking up lounges. So you don't have to be traveling in business class now to go and sit in a CIP lounge.
Okay.
You
Wonderful.
can hold a prestige account at a bank and you'll be able to sit in a lounge. You'll be able to be treated like a queen. We will have, I've talked about the lounges, we've talked about the restaurant, we've talked about the duty-free shop and other retail. So we are creating more of that just to enhance and improve the experience of the passenger.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right. As we, come to the end of the program, just quickly take us through what kind of jobs will be created for the local people. I know you've talked about businesses and how business people like myself
Yes.
can come and run a business around, supporting the airport and the airport infrastructure. Just take us through some of the figures that you expect in terms of job creation.
Okay. If you may allow me very quickly to say that the project at Lusaka will cost us about $360 million. And we're scheduled to complete in October 2019, but we're moving quite fast.
Okay.
Let me take you to the airport in Ndola. We expect to create 3,000 jobs during the construction phase. By the way, we already broke ground, and works are starting shortly.
Okay.
So yes, we are going to have jobs created, but most importantly, we feel that we are going to facilitate economic development through the many businesses that will be operated around the airports. Employment will obviously enable people to have money in their pockets. The airports will actually revamp economy around their surroundings.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Madam Agnes Chaila, thank you so much for coming through to the program. I know this topic is so interesting. I think we need to have you back on the program. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming and good luck. It's a lot of work on your hands, and I'm glad that there's a female at the helm. Thank you so much. Well, this is where we wrap up. So much good news coming from the Airports Corporation Limited, and we're all fingers crossed, toes. We're very excited and we cannot wait to be able to, well, sort of test the airport and have a feel of wonderful infrastructure that's coming up at the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, as well as looking forward to the one in Ndola, the Simon Mwansa Kapwepwe Airport. This is a very proud time for Zambia, and we're glad that we're all around at such a time. Yes. And we will be back next time on this program with another interesting theme and topic. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.